You're presenting at Wise Traditions for Weston Price Foundation. What are you going to tell people? What's the main message?
I'm a one-trick pony. I moved our farm from a very, very industrial monocultural cattle farm to what we do today, which is a vertically integrated farm producing cows, hogs, sheep, goats, rabbits, poultry, a bunch of other stuff. And so really, that's the only message I got. If they don't want to hear that, I need to get my stuff and go home.
I think what a lot of people find really interesting about your story is that your family's been in the business for a long time, and you've done farming and ranching different ways and have learned, in some cases, the hard way, how to get to where you are now. Like, you didn't just wake up and read a book about regenerative farming or something. You did it the other way. Can you tell people a little bit about that who might be not familiar with your story?
Sure. So our farm was founded by my great-grandfather, and followed by his son, my grandfather. And their way of doing business is they raised a lot of different species of animals. They were stockmen and slaughtered them on the farm. This is before USDA, this is before refrigeration, this is before internal combustion vehicles. So they slaughtered animals on the farm every day, 6 days a week. They may kill a cow, they may kill 3 hogs, they may kill 100 chickens. But they and the employees killed something that they were grazing 6 days a week and hauled it up the dirt road to the town of Bluffton and distributed what they had, the meat or poultry that they had. And they had to sell it that day, and I can't imagine the difficulties of doing that, but they did it for a couple of generations. My dad took over the farm post-World War II, 1946, and he really modernized, industrialized, commoditized the farm. Under his watch, it became a monoculture of only cattle. And he was not vertically integrated. He just he owned that sliver of space in the chain that raised the calves. But he did that successfully for a long time. And when I was growing up, all I wanted to do was be an industrial cattle guy, just like my dad. I thought it was great, and I loved it. I went to the University of Georgia, I majored in animal science. It used to be animal husbandry, but it became animal science.
Probably something politically incorrect about animal husbandry or something.
Well, probably so, but the fact is, husbandry is cyclical, science is linear, and it changed. It went from being a cyclical sort of operation to a very linear operation. The descriptive was appropriate. So I came home and I raised cattle industrially for 20 years, and I was uber industrial and used all the tools and produced a lot of beef. And probably 25 years ago, mid-90s, maybe 30 years ago, I became increasingly dissatisfied with that model. It happened very quickly. I mean, I just didn't like it anymore. And so I started moving it from that model to what we do today, which is vertically integrated and very cyclical. And it's been hard, but I'm glad I did it.
I read a quote from you that said, if I had asked you years ago what it was like being a farmer, you would have complained about how tough it is and it's hard, all this hard work and sweaty, you're nasty at the end of the day or whatever. And now that you've changed your way of doing farming, you have a lot more joy, that you would say you love just going out and watching the animals and looking at the grass. Could you talk a little bit about that transition for not just yourself, but do you think there's something to be learned from that for the consumer when it comes to a relationship with food?
Yeah, I really hadn't considered that from the consumer's perspective, but certainly from my perspective, I don't think I knew I was miserable at that time, but I was not happy with the model that I'd embraced. I made money at it; it was profitable for us, but I did not enjoy what I did. Well, I did at first, but I enjoyed it less and less. The more committed I became to that industrial linear model, the less I loved it. when I changed, it was very, very difficult. And I certainly didn't enjoy that. There's a lot of pain in that. But now that I have made the change and things are working well, not perfectly, but well, I mean, I think I'm the happiest son of a gun on the planet. I mean, I just really love what I do. Two of my daughters and their spouses have come back to the farm, helping run it. And we've got about 160 employees, managed by 20 something great managers, managed by 7 directors. And I think I speak for all of us in saying that we enjoy what we do. It's a lot of fun.
When we moved from Washington State to Florida, we stopped by Will's Ranch and we had lunch. We really enjoyed ourselves. We thought that the young people working in the gift shop were very nice and respectful. Like, they're pretty young, like maybe early 20s, I think. And so highly recommend stopping by. You can have lunch there. You can see where they make leather, all these different value-added products. When I go to the grocery store, I can buy your ground beef now, which I think is great. But then I also hear some people say, hey, we should just get out of the grocery store system. We should, like, Texas Slim is about to present, shake your rancher's hand, go direct with the rancher, like, let's just opt out of the system. How do you balance that? You know, like in the world, but not necessarily of the world kind of thing?
It's a changing environment. You know, Bluffton is in Clay County, Georgia. And Clay County was the poorest county in America in 2020. Not Georgia, America. And you saw it. And it looks poor.
Yeah.
And that, it never occurred to me to start my business retailing locally. It wouldn't have worked. So I started it as a wholesale business, and the timing was so fortunate. You know, we sold Whole Foods Market and Publix the first pound of American grass-fed beef that they marketed as American grass-fed beef.
Okay.
At that time, it was just so good. Like that, I wish I could say I was visionary and saw it coming. That's not what happened. I did what I did, and it worked out. But that changed. You know, we became less and less profitable as imported grass-fed beef became more and more of a thing in grocery.
Imported from?
26 countries, Uruguay, Australia, and New Zealand are the biggest countries. And I'm not saying that beef is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's not product of the USA, but it's labeled product of the USA because they changed the rules. And that adversely affected our grocery store business. I don't sell the Whole Foods anymore. I do still sell the Publix. They're wonderful people. I'm glad I don't have to make my living selling exclusively to wholesale. Most of our business is direct to consumer, online. We have an order fulfillment center on the farm, and we pack trucks 6 days a week with UPS or FedEx and ship direct to consumers, and that model is working for us.
It's interesting that you don't work with Whole Foods anymore, but you work with Publix. Like, that's our conventional grocery store. Whole Foods, you think you're supporting the American farmer, small farmer, organic. You walk out of there feeling better about yourself, I guess, even though they call it Whole Paycheck. So why do you mind speaking a little bit to that? I mean, is there something people should know about Whole Foods?
I mean, I certainly don't mind I felt the way you described Whole Foods. When I first started, I sold them the first pound of American grass-fed beef that they labeled American grass-fed beef, and I felt very close to them. When Amazon bought them, it changed dramatically and quickly. And I say they threw me out. They say I quit doing business with them. I'm not sure. I think we were both dissatisfied. But it was a different company.
Huh. How so?
I no longer felt like I was part of the family. You mentioned Publix is a more modern, broad spectrum, but
Well, it's the grocery store that is just for the average person who may not be thinking about their food. You just go into the grocery store with Whole Foods, people are like, I'm going to Whole Foods, like you went out of your way to buy a Louis Vuitton. You're not just buying a purse. That's what you. So it's just interesting because it seems like the consumer that would want a product like yours would be more likely to go to a Whole Foods, less likely to go to a Publix. So maybe that's starting to change. So that's why I'm interested in the conversion over at Whole Foods.
I think you're talking about old Whole Foods and pre-Amazon
maybe
Whole Foods and post-Amazon.
Well,
Whole Foods.
I don't know if the consumer changed. Did they with the Amazon purchase of? You're saying the company changed. I don't know if the consumer changed.
Well, I think it takes a while for the consumer to say, this isn't quite like it used to be.
Oh yeah.
And we don't have a Whole Foods in Bluffton, so I don't go.
Yeah, we don't have a Whole Foods where I live either.
But so I'm not a frequent shopper now, but I'm pretty sure they would try to maintain. They had old Whole Foods had done a really good job positioning themselves in the market as a very different kind of a grocer. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Amazon. I don't think they're bad people. I think it's a very normal, modern grocery store now. But they're smart enough merchandisers that they realized they had a following, so they would still try to dress it up to suit their customers. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame them for that. But I'm grateful for the business that we have with Publix, and we got some others. We do some business with Kroger. We do business with some others, not much, but some. And I'm glad I got that business, but I can't depend on it. Our future growth will be direct to consumer, and we're actually opening a location in Atlanta next year. There's a company that builds farmer markets, and they have bought an old defunct poultry plant. It hadn't been operated for probably 30 years, and they're chopping it up. We released 2 slots from them. We'll have full-time employees selling product in Atlanta, and that scares the heck out of me. I don't mind having 160 or 70 employees in Bluffton, Georgia, but having 10 in Atlanta is frightening.
Right. Yeah, I know. I can see that. Okay, so just to wrap it up then, if people are watching the end of this and they're thinking, well, dang, can't shop at Whole Foods anymore, or maybe that's not the best way to support somebody like Will Harris. You're talking about direct to consumer. You've got your online, you can buy a half cow, I think even a whole cow, and they'll deliver it to your door. I learned this because we're going to do that, at least depending on where you are. We're not too far from you guys. I think we live about 4 or 5 hours away, but they got this whole online business. So is your recommendation then, hey, it may be still packaged, whether it's Whole Foods or some other health food store, maybe packaged a certain way, but you don't really know for sure unless you know the person in some way. Call them up, or what's your last piece of advice to consumers that hear this and think, oh, not Whole Foods, now what do I do?
I didn't mean just to slam Whole Foods, but they have changed the way they do business, and it is now incumbent upon the consumer to know where the food comes from, and if it's a producer you like who's marketing it through Whole Foods or Publix or Kroger or whoever, that's fine. But it's going to be
know them.
Because it's going to be incumbent upon the consumer. In a perfect world, you go and visit the farm. As you know, I built a store and lodging and a restaurant to bring people to see us. But you don't have to. With social media being what it is, and I'm not a great social media guy, but I got my daughter that it is. You can know a lot about a farm if you look at the social media, and you could go. And I bet you right this minute on this what is this, Wednesday, Thursday?
Friday.
On this Friday. I bet you there's 40 or 50 people on my farm looking. They'll have a tour, and you give them a map, and you can go. You don't have to go on the tour. You can just go look, and that, I hope and I believe, is confidence inspiring, so those people can feel like they know what they're getting, And I just think that there's so much brilliant marketing out there. So many people selling, pigs with feathers or whatnot, that it's incumbent upon the consumer to educate themselves and know what they're getting. If all you know is what the advertisement said, you don't know enough.
Okay, the book is A Bold Return to Giving a Damn by Will Harris. And people can get it, dare I say Amazon after all of that.
Yeah.
You still get it on Amazon.
You can get it online. I think they're good book sellers.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Don't forget to check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways you can support the podcast. There's wine, my AllisonWinePromo.com. Sign up for the wine club. Wine from very amazing remote, small operations around the world. There's cod liver butter oil blend, Weston Price. We're at the Weston Price Foundation conference, the way Weston Price wanted you to take it for your teeth. They go to greenpasture.org. Use promo code Allison for 10% off at checkout. Will, thank you so much. Any final words? You nervous about speaking?
Yeah. I'm a one-trick pony, and I just got one speech.
Yeah.
And I'm these are nice people. Yeah, no, I'm not nervous. I just seem to be on the farm, but I'm not nervous about talking to these people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's wearing a real leather vest, everybody, so you can trust what he's got to say. See you next time.